Hello, guys. Hope you're well. Welcome again to Finance for Founders. And on today's episode, I am excited that we have the one and only Emmanuel Asuquo. And I'm sure most of you have know about Emmanuel, but for those of us that don't, I'm going to give you a little intro. Right. So Emmanuel is a qualified financial advisor. He has worked in the financial services for over 15 years. He's worked with individuals and businesses to help them manage their money. He has worked with the likes of HSBC, Nat West, HBOS and Bar-clays before becoming an independent financial advisor. He has been featured in the Times, Telegraph, The Sun, the Daily Mail newspaper, and has been invited to speak as an expert guest on BBC Radio on multiple occasions. Emmanuel is featured as one of the four experts on the popular Channel 4 finance show Save Well, Spend Less, and on secret spenders. He was also an expert for the BBC One show Your Money and Your Life and featured on ITV's This Morning. He is a regular on the Jeremy Vine show on Channel 4. Emmanuel, that's a mouthful. Welcome to our show. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you, man? It's good to be here.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. How have you been? How's the family? How's everyone doing?
Yeah, everyone's good, man. Everyone's good. What about you? How's family? Everyone good?
Yeah. Everyone's good. Family's well. And I think that's what gives life and birth to everything else that we do.
Exactly.
Gives us our why, gives us our purpose. Excellent. So, Emmanuel, I've said a mouthful about you. Um,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, so that our people will know a little bit more about you, beside of what
Sure,
I've said.
sure. Yeah, no, sure. As you said, my name's Emmanuel Asuquo. I grew up in Tower Hamlets, East London, on a council estate to Nigerian parents who came straight from Nigeria. So I'm the eldest child. Shout out to all the eldest children. Yeah, I'm the first of my family to be born in the UK. I've got two younger sisters. But there was always a responsibility of me to, be the eldest child and perform and do well. Unfortunately, I thought I was going to be a sports star, so I didn't take my education as seriously as I should have. And so I didn't do well in school. And if you got a Nigerian dad and you don't do well in school, they're gonna disown you. So, that meant that I was very close to being disowned and not being where everyone thinks I want to be. And the reason I like to tell people is context, right? Because people will meet you where you are and feel like you've always been there, or you've always deserved it, or you've always been this place. But I always like to let people know that, I've had a journey where there's been a lot of failure, there's been a lot of downs, a lot of hard times, but the consistency and perseverance has led me to where I am today. And that's through faith in God. And I really understand when a lot of people ask me, what's the difference? Like, how are you able to make it? For me personally, my differentiator, my thing that made me different from everyone else is that I didn't trust in what man had to say. I didn't trust in what anyone told me that I'm gonna be here, or people like me don't to positions, or there's no one like you in the room, or people are not going to listen to you, because my faith and my trust was in the Lord. And so I just persevered, and funny enough, like I said, didn't get the best education, but still became the youngest financial advisor in Barclays in the country at age 22. Put that into context, my closest colleague to me was like 38, but the majority of my colleagues were like late 40s and early 50s. So, all my colleagues pretty much been my dad, mum or dad. And so there was that big age gap. Then obviously coming from a council state east, you know, I'm black. I'm the only black person in my team. Do you know what I mean? So there were loads of different barriers. But again, my
Yes.
faith in God made me believe like I could do more. And so I went through that, carried on being a financial advisor, then got to the point where I realized I was tired of just helping people richer. I was living in that time where I would go to work in Canary Wharf or in the city, and you see you be meet clients and talk about how do we take this 2 million to 4 million or 5 million, and then I'd go home and I'm on a council estate where people are begging you for £1, and I was just like, how do I actually like make a difference, be the change that I want to see? So I left the banks, went onto social media, mainly Instagram, and just started teaching people the stuff that I'd learned in the city, the stuff that I'd learned, that for all this information that they're trying not to let us know, and they're not breaking it down in a way that we can understand. So call it edutainment. Basically, it's a mix education and entertainment. So, I'll go online and try and make it relevant, make it funny. I did one video that was when I was talking about, Beyonce tickets and how all of a sudden everyone had money for Beyonce tickets, but you're in your overdraft, or you're struggling to do left and right, but you've got money for Beyonce. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just
Absolutely.
trying to understand that a lot of these decisions we're making, we don't think about them, but they are financial decisions. And if we continue to put our money into things that are liabilities, things that don't grow, things that are just for the here and now
Mm.
and they're gone, we're always going to stay where we are. And so it became my mantra. Channel 4 then saw, what I was doing. And like you said, I was on the show Save Well, Spend Better. And then I got the privilege, and I tell people sometimes you have to do the work, then the opportunity will find you. So what happened
Absolutely.
is that we had the pandemic. That meant we were talking about money. All of a sudden, everybody understood inflation and money and the cost of living crisis. And then also we had George Floyd, where now media was saying, well, we need to have more representation. So we need to talk about money and we need a black person. Here I am, like tick those boxes. If I had
Yes,
waited and said, oh, I think they need a black person to talk about finance, let me start doing videos, it'd have been too late. I needed to
ab-
already be existing. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. I love that. In fact, as you were speaking, I wrote down so many nuggets and so many things I'm going to ask you. Right? You've mentioned things on your faith being an important part. And you've also mentioned about your career being a financial advisor, being the youngest in Barclays, right? Me and you have lots of similarities.
Oh,
I'm the oldest of three boys, um, born and bred Brixton in a council estate. So I really, really understand. And I think one of the things growing up then is people keep talking about vision, having a purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I did eventually end up doing something, I kind of stumbled into it. So I guess my question to you now is, how did you navigate your way into being a financial advisor? How did that journey begin? I know you've mentioned as you've gotten older, the knowledge that you had, you wanted to give it to just not just the rich people, but just people around you, the average person. But how did you get into, or where did your interest come into being a wealth manager stem from in the first place?
yeah, good question. Number one, I'd say that a big influence is my dad. So even though me and my dad didn't always have the greatest, relationship because he was all about education, I didn't take my education serious, so we butted heads on that. But my dad was an accountant. He studied to be an accountant, and he's an accountant. So that was something where he I wanted to do a marketing degree at university because I felt like it's more could use my brain and more enjoyable and more I would enjoy it more. And my dad was like, do finance, do accounting, and I ended up saying, okay, well, I'll do finance and accounting. So even my degree, the influence of my dad played an influence because I see him as an accountant. I know that if he can get a job in accounts, I can get a job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to see it to believe it. So I was like, okay, that. But biggest thing for me was I always tell people about, I used to see the buildings in Canary and it's so important sometimes you just see beyond your current situation. For me, it was about, okay, this is where I can't change where I am right now, where I am right now today. But where do I want to be? Do you understand? Because
yeah,
until it's like when you get into a car, you can have the sat nav, but you have to put the address in. If you don't put the address to the sat nav, it can't lead you anywhere. Do you understand? So sometimes what's happening is they know they don't want to be where they are, destination where they're trying to get. So what happens? They just keep going round and round in circles and actually not getting anywhere. So you have to have a destination. Now, listen, when you that destination is set, we all know sometimes we'll say, "Oh, road closure," and so you'll take a different. The journey can change as you're driving, but you're still going towards an end goal. You're still going towards somewhere. Now you might get a phone call and we're to that destination, to another destination, but you're already part of the way there because you're already en route.
yeah,
I hope I'm making sense. So what happened for
absolutely.
me was I said, listen, I've got to into these buildings in Canary Wharf. I didn't know what job. I didn't know what a job is in there. I didn't know a job description. I didn't have anything. I just went to these buildings. And so that vision to say, I'm gonna get over there and get into these buildings led me to then become, a cashier in Bar. And then from becoming a cashier, once I was in the bank, I could then learn about different roles. And once I
Mm.
learned different roles, then I could then pick which one of those roles I wanted to get. And so sometimes I tell young people, I know you want to be an investment banker. Sometimes just get in the room, just
Yeah,
get in the building. Doesn't matter what position, get in the building and learn and ask questions and gain knowledge and so forth. And that will help you shape where you're going to.
fantastic. I really, really love that analogy of vision, of just having that end destination. I think sometimes when we speak of vision, we're quite uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Definitive about it. It's
Mm,
it, it's set in stone. This is exactly where I'm going. Now, when it's not materialized, you've wondered what has actually went wrong, what actually has happened. And I think that your honesty of it was just to get into the buildings. I haven't tried to sugarcoat it, paint it. I wrote it down or anything. And no, I needed to get into those buildings, and I love that. One thing I would say to you, Emmanuel, right, is that I've had the privilege to have conversations with you before today, and I would say that one of the things that has I've seen is a level of humility. I say that because you've been taken to such heights in your career, you're appearing on shows and so on and so forth. But I always feel as though an average person can approach you. You be easy. There isn't any, oh, I am up here and you're down there kind of thing. So going back to my original question, where has your faith helped with regards to where you are right now? Because I know you placed a lot of emphasis on it, didn't you?
yeah, huge. I tell people, I think I do today. The main skills I have learned in church. So
Wow.
church gave me the opportunity to do public speak. That was preaching in my cell church. So we have the main church, but on a Friday, small they would meet as a smaller group, and then
Yeah.
every now and again, the pastor of the cell church, young person, take over the service and take his spot and preach. That was the first time I ever, wrote a sermon or wrote something, and then stood up to people and spoke. 13, you know what I mean?
Wow.
13. So then I joined the drama group in church. So then again, I used to have a little bit of a kind of stammer. Sometimes it still comes out, but you know, through doing drama group in church, that then led me to then overcome that. And I used to rap in church, so we used to, go to other churches and we used to rap Christian rap, and like garage and all of that type of stuff. We used to do that and go around in churches. And so I used to be a youth leader in church. That's where I worked with young people. Like
Wow.
literally all the confidence we see, like me doing today, has come from the church opportunity to me be able to express myself and express my and find your space. That's the amazing thing about church is that you might be in the PA, you might be a steward, you might be on the pulpit, whatever it may be. There are so many different ways that you can deliver and grow in church. And then having my Sunday school group of friends. So you have to like where now young people have this pressure of their friends at school, and I had my church friends, and so no matter what, we like where your secondary school friends might change, and you go on to have your friends from college or whatever. Always had, always had my church friends to support me along the way and comforter and support me. And so I think the group of people around you again makes a big difference because when you go astray, in your teenage years, you may go astray. It's really important to have that friendship and say, no, what you're doing is wrong, or no, you know better than that, and so forth. So church has just played a fantastic part. In it. And then when you talk about being humble or so for me, I just know I am blessed enough to have a gift, okay? And so that's why my job is to help. Like God gave me a gift and I'm able to use it to help. And so for me, it's not about It's not about what I can gain. There's no higher or lower. Like, do you know what I mean? For me, it's a service. I'm providing a
Mm.
service. I'm happy to serve. I mean, and I don't allow any of these things to try and sway me because I'm not defined by it. The problem is when you define yourself by, I see a lot of my football clients. They define themselves being a footballer because the club they can get, the attention they get online, and then the second they get injured and they can't play, they've lost themselves. But I know, with or without fame, with or without the likes or the comments or social media, I know who God made me. I know who I
Mm.
am as a person. That doesn't change. And if all of this was taken away and they said, oh, you can't do finance talks anymore, I'd still find a way to serve. I still find a way to use the gifts that God have given me. And so I know that it's a gift from God, and I just need to give it to as many people because I know along the way the amount of people that have blessed me. Now it's only right that I turn around and bless others.
Absolutely. I love that. You know, this mindset of having a service and serving and not chasing money, I think that it's something that is missing from this generation. I think everybody's in a rat race, or most people in a rat race, and quote unquote, chasing the paper, so to say. Which now leads me on to my next question. Right, we've already discovered that we have very similar backgrounds, and I remember
Yeah.
growing up uh, listening to Soul Solid and rap music or whatever it may be, right? And seeing these rap videos and everything else like that. Every time people who I grew up with got their hands on some money, the first thing they wanted to do is floss, just like they saw it in those music videos.
Yeah.
Whether it's the latest trainers, whether it's the latest car. So I think my question to you more so is around the money mindset that one should have, and also building financial habit, right? That will eventually improve our wealth, really, because it does stem and start from the habits we have and the mindset that we have as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing I tell people, like, what's your number one? I tell this to all my clients, even my clients that have money or have jobs or whatever, is the biggest thing that we need to learn to do is to love ourselves.
Mm,
And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that when you love yourself and understand and value yourself and know who you are, then then the whole consumerism can't affect you because you know that you're already special. Always, especially my young people, I tell them, listen, you even a team has different things. So you are unique, and anything unique is valuable. Like anything that's one of a kind is valuable. And
mm,
so because of that, you are already special. So you don't need a car to become special. You don't need to wear certain clothes to become special. Your importance and your value doesn't increase by the things you wear or the clothes you can buy or the holiday that you can go on. You're already valuable. In fact, you make things valuable because you wear them. They are valuable. And when
mm,
you understand, when we start to understand that, then we can start making better decisions with our money. Because for a lot of us, our spending habits come from a place of validation. We validate ourselves based on the things that we can buy, the car that we can drive, the places we can go, the status, the respect that we get from people. And so we end up spending money on things that don't really value us. And I'll give you a great example. My neighbor, before I moved house, my old neighbor, their car, my goodness, it was one Polo, but even the old was gone. It was just it was smooth, it was black. I remember sometimes I'd be walking to the station and the wife would see me. She'd say, "Oh, should I drive you to the station?" Me, normally I would enjoy the lift. I would say, "No, I'll walk. I don't, it's okay. I don't even want to be seen in that your car." Understand? But their house, they've done extension to the back, extension to the top. Their house is 1.2 million. Do you understand?
wow.
And so the thing about it is that we buy a nice car, we will have great clothes, and then we will rent. Do you like? And we'll have no, we won't feel any way about it. But in other communities where they understand they are already valuable, they don't need to buy clothes to validate themselves. They will focus on, well, actually, the place I live or having a place to live and adding value and creating value from that is much more important. So they will do their kitchen every 3 or 4 years. They will save redo their bathrooms because it's important to them, and and that actually brings value to them. Whereas us, we'll spend money on things. Your car's going down in value. Your clothes, new clothes will come. You'll need to buy them, and so we'll end up staying in that race and not. So it's really that. Also, it's about delayed gratification. We live in a generation of instant gratification. I don't know if you go to the train station and it says, oh, 3 minutes, and you're upset. 3 minutes. I gotta wait 3 minutes, and they say it's a good service. You know what I mean? Where when you really think about it, 3 minutes is no time whatsoever. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if it's not 1 minute or 2 minutes, you're upset. Everything now, now, now. And so it's the same thing. You just want everything now, but actually that mindset keeps means that you have nothing for tomorrow because
Yeah.
you're enjoying everything now. For a lot of us, we're robbing our future self in a place where we're using buy now, pay later, or we're in debt. And so what happens is that you get paid, and half your paycheck is you've already spent it
Yeah.
from previous months. And so it's about the application and then understanding your needs versus your want.
Yeah.
Understand what is it that I actually need to live and have the life that I need. Shelter, the basics. What's the basics that I need? And then what are the things that I want? And what are the wants that I'm gonna have now? And what are the wants that I'm gonna leave for the future? Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to have all your wants right now.
Fantastic. I think you hit so many nuggets just there. This issue of delayed gratification, I think it's one that is absolutely necessary. Uh, I've got another question I want to ask you, but before I do so, you mentioned about debt. What's your views on debt and borrowing?
For me, I only use that it's making me money or it's saving me money. So if I can use it to invest in business, if I can use it to purchase a property that is going to use and it's going to help me grow wealth and it's going to make me money, then great. We're using debt to buy things that go down in value, and we're doing that a lot, and we're buying a lot of liabilities. It's going to limit our growth. So it's all about how you use it. And I think the problem with us is that, like, I remember when everyone learned in my church that I worked in the bank, everybody coming to me asking me for a loan. Oh, I need to send money back home to family. Oh, I need to buy a car. Oh, nobody was talking to me about how do I get that? How do I
Mm,
start investing? How do
yeah.
I start a business? Because hasn't been in that we belong in these spaces. And one of my missions is to let us know we belong in those spaces. Those
Yes.
spaces are we belong, and we need to have more conversations about what we do in those spaces.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Do you see yourself as a financial advisor or businessman?
Good question. I probably lean more to the businessman than financial advisor, if I'm honest. I think most financial advisors are just financial advisors. They're hardcore. Yes, they are business persons as well. They run their business, but their business is their financial advice business.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I see my reach being much further than just financial advice. The problem for me with financial advice is it tends to be only at people who can afford, and which means that people have to have 50 to 100,000 plus to even be able to the room. And then also, you can only have a certain number of clients due to regulation. So there are lots of great financial advisors with loads of knowledge, but they might only be helping 150, 200 clients. And it's enough. If the big enough portfolios, that's all you really need.
Yeah.
I want my gift to go way beyond 100 or 200 or 300 people. So for me, it was about how do I create this into a business where I can impact multiple lives and reduce the barrier to have such a 50, 100K before anybody can ever find out this stuff.
Fantastic. I love that. You mentioned you being a businessman. So let me ask you a question. Someone that doesn't have the giftings to be a businessman, and they work 9 to 5,
Yeah,
what are the things they can do to secure the financial destinies of them and their children?
yeah. I think see this question is we need to really respect the majority of people. I'm talking, probably 65% of people are employed. Don't let the internet fool you. The majority of people are employed. Have 9 to 5 job. Okay. Don't let don't let it. Well, it seems that everybody's an entrepreneur online. That is not the reality. You can Google the stats from HMRC. The majority of people are employed. Okay? And so, what we can do is, for me, it's about us. I always tell people, can be even when these days you could be a business and be employed at the same time. You can be you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur where you're actually an entrepreneur within a business. You know what I mean, a
Yeah.
great example of that. I don't know if you've heard of Dean Forbes. Dean Forbes is someone who is now a multi-millionaire, but has been employed his whole career.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He's always had a job. He's never not been self-employed, not been an entrepreneur. But the deals that he did as an employee are huge, and he owns share, and it's to the level where he has equity in the company. So when companies get bought, he paid. You
Yeah.
understand? What thing I would say is, number one is, if you are an employee and you don't want to be self-employed. Number one is, try and increase your income as much as possible. So that means that you have to look at the experience that you have, to look at the qualifications that you have, projects that you're doing. You have to also look at the industry that you're in. This is
Mm.
something that I think a lot of us, there are certain things that we feel like, we like to do, but there's the money that you can make in those industries is limited. So you might be working really, really hard. Like, if the highest you paid in that industry is 50, 60K, you're not going to live the life that you really want to live. Do you know what I mean? So you have to look at, how do I make it work for me? So I've had people have gone from being, you know, just employed normally to being contractors and doing the same job at contract. And now they possess a higher level of income and more flexibility, so that they may be able to have one or two, maybe have two contracts at the same time, or have time to do other things that can generate income. So really look at the industry you're in. Don't be afraid to retrain. There are transferable skills. So look at look at what does the market need? Like, we're seeing AI, we're seeing this technology coming in. What skills, what courses can you take and learn can really value to companies? Like, sometimes actually you can create stuff for yourself and actually go to a company and say, I have learned this. This is an area that we are missing. Like, I want to implement this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And create a job for yourself. And if that company is taking it up, other ones might. So really look at, where is the market going and how can you add value to it? And then from your if you're not gonna work, be a business person, you've got to put your money to business for you. You've got to start investing that money, whether that be stock, pensions, ICE, whether that be property. That might also be investing in other people's businesses. I know some people are very good at saving. Interest rates are not great, so they do is, they are angel investors, and they invest in other people's companies and get ownership in those companies, and get paid when those companies get sold. There are loads of things you can do once you're making money. So don't feel like you have to be an entrepreneur.
And I absolutely love what you just said about investing. In fact, you mentioned Dean Forbes, right? I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Dean, if you're listening, we're going to send you an invite to be part of the show.
Come on.
um, and funny enough, you say that one of the people that we actually work with quite regularly is a gentleman called Andy A. And Andy's a good guy, and he is very much into angel investing, and I think we're going to try to get him on the show very soon, because I think it's an area that's not really known amongst. I think a lot of people, when they think about angel investing, think Silicon Valley, it doesn't happen with it. Well, there's actually loads of opportunities to invest in startup in the UK. So we'll certainly be airing that to us very soon. My question I was going to say to you is, in terms of investments, what is your advice? What are the areas of um, investments you would encourage somebody to do?
Yeah. So first of all, the number one advice is, first of all, make sure you pay off your debt. Build an emergency fund. So do the basics first. Build an emergency fund. Make sure you have emergency fund. Typically, three to 6 months worth of your outgoings in an account. So if you were to lose your job, or if something come up that was unexpected, you had money to be able to replace that. So the money that you're investing, you take it out early, because obviously the markets can go up and down, and taking it out. So you want to have enough money in cash to think about, investing. So that's first. But when it comes to investing, the best place to start money on a monthly basis. So start off small. I always tell people like, oh, I don't understand this. I don't understand. I don't understand pound cost averaging, or I don't understand, ups and downs and standard deviation. You don't need to understand that. I always tell. Let's think about this. In London, you go to a coffee shop, you buy a coffee and a croissant. That's like £10 gone. You do that 5 times in a month. That's £50 gone. There's no chance that that £50 is gonna grow or be better. All you get is that instant coffee croissant and it's done.
Yeah.
You could do that. You that same £50 in investment on a monthly basis. Now, yes, it could go down, but you also have the potential of it going up. Plus, to learn as you go along. Now, if you're investing in something that we types of funds that we know are steady and have been around for a long time. For example, the S&P 500. People talk about it all the time. I'm not. I'm the biggest fan because it's quite basic to get started. I think there's no better place to get started. Like, think about if you how much the price of Apple stock is, Microsoft
Yeah.
stock is, all of these big Tesla, all these companies, you wanted to invest them individually, you'd need thousands of pounds just to buy one share in each of them. We're talking about actually in £50 into a fund that invests in all of them. And if of the top 500 US companies, now we know when America sneezes, everybody else catches a cold. Do you know what I mean? That's the power of America. Do you know what I mean? And so you can invest in the top 500 American, a secure investment. And we've seen over the years, yes, it will go up, but over time, it's giving you something between 7 to 10% a year.
Yeah.
Which, to get started, is a good place to get started and just understand and the habit of money into the market. And then as you go along, you can get more sophisticated. Also, there are individual shares. I was telling you the other day, I'm not talking about you having to be a wizard, start watching the newspapers and not sleep at night to get the market. We're talking if you have an iPhone or watch, tablet, and you use all of that. So next year they bring out a new phone. You buy a new phone. Please buy the shares.
Yeah.
If you are someone that loves designer and you know what I mean, you can buy Louis Vuitton. There's a company you can buy them. I mean, you can buy the things that you spend the money in, things that you value.
Yeah.
You can own it. Even Primark is owned by another company. You really believe in what you can own that company. So point being is that don't just be the reason the share price goes up. Benefit from it as well. And also, when you stop shopping in those places, maybe it's time to sell. Do you know what I mean? People vote with their feet. So think it's one of the biggest investments a lot of us have that we don't do anything is our pension. How many people's pension is in the default fund?
Yeah.
Some of us are here, we're vegan. We're doing all of these things. Yet if you looked at where your money is invested in your default fund, it's in companies that you would never buy.
Yeah.
So one of the things you need to do is go and change your default fund and pick a fund that suits your investment, how you feel the investments should be in the world, and suits what you think is right, your ethical stance. These are the
Absolutely.
types of things that we can do. Then property, we're in the UK, we know how property is. And again, there are so many different strategies to get in there. But what I would say to you is don't feel like you have to jump in straight away. Attend property events, attend networking events, go
Yeah.
there, pay to be in the room, learn, listen, network with people, do joint ventures. Do you know that property experts that say, look, I'm buying this property, you can put in your £5,000, we'll give you 10% on it, for example, which is not much, but we'll give you 10% on it. But where the real value comes is, we'll let you come in on the project. So all the emails that we'll get, we'll let you read the email so you can see what we go through on a day to day. So when you get to that level, you know what you have to do. We'll let you come on site, see what we do with the builders. We'll explain why we're knocking this wall down or what we're going to do and why we're going to do it and the planning permission that we've got. You can learn these things and make money at the same time so that when you now are ready, you can go and get the knowledge is out there. But
Yeah.
the problem is that we are too busy watching Love Island and talking about talking about other people's business.
Yeah,
Like, I go on social media and the way we are upset, oh, this person said this person cheated on this person. Bruv, have you looked at your bank account?
yeah,
Like, have you seen where you are financially? Like,
yeah.
some of us, you're still in your mum's house at your big age, and there's no, mum wants her freedom. She's gone by now. And you're out here worrying about what's happening on this Love Island or this, and that. Like, it's time for you to actually, how am I going to level up? You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
So it's really important that we actually have the mindset to say, how do I change my situation?
absolutely. Something you said just now, and I think it's in terms of investment, is being true to yourself as well. Uh, Having products or investing in things that you're passionate about and things that you like. And I remember one time I heard Alex Hormozy. I'm not sure you know Alex Hormozy.
I've heard the name. I've heard the name.
He said that um, in terms of where people should invest their money in, you invest it based on your knowledge of what you're investing in. So somebody that's been in the property market all their life, their dad was a property developer, they
Mm.
grew up naturally, a large portion of their income is
Yeah.
going to be invested in what they actually know. So I know that things that crypto have come up, a lot of people don't have any idea in crypto, don't actually understand. And investing in it is not necessarily bad, but where a huge chunk of your income is invested in something that you don't actually know anything about, then you need to probably be quite mindful of that. Fair enough, there's some people that have in-depth knowledge of crypto. I know these individuals personally, and kudos to them. But yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that. But and by the way, I've got nothing against crypto. I've got plenty of crypto myself. But I'm just saying, in, invest in what you're passionate about and invest in what you
Yeah.
know.
I
Like,
feel like even like you have people around and you can speak to people that might even have a bit more knowledge. That's where
yeah,
your network, the best, one of your biggest investments has to be in your network. Because
absolutely.
I know a lot of people say, I'm socially awkward. Oh, just speak to people, like just speak to people, and also work on your value. I tell people all the time, listen, when you are valuable, people want to work with you. Okay,
Mm,
so if you feel that, oh, I don't have anything to give, I don't have anything to say, then work on what can I bring to the table. What's the skill that I bring that can read that people can add value to other people. Don't just look for what you can get. Networking is not a one-way thing. It's not I network with you, so you can tell me, give me all your clients, all your resources. Networking is about what can I bring to you to add value to you, and then it can be an exchange. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes the value that someone can bring to you is not straight away. I've networked with people, and they were help them, and I didn't get anything back straight away. And then 2, 3 years later, a big client introduced to me, and they said, "Oh yeah, I've come from XYZ." And I'm like, oh
yeah,
wow! Like
yeah,
people will remember. So it's not like value exchange that it has to be right there and then. Sometimes it takes time, but it's about having a network of. When I go on LinkedIn, I can go on people's name. I'm looking for something. I can put into LinkedIn and find somebody in that industry and say, "Oh, I need this or I need that." It's a network. It's about the
yeah,
value that you're bringing. So network can really make a difference.
yeah. Emmanuel, give me a practical example of how you will go about doing that. So you go on LinkedIn, you're
Yeah,
meeting somebody that's one or two levels above you.
yeah,
You want to reach out to them. And we hear this thing about offer value, right?
yeah,
I want you to be as practical as you can. Now, you're a wealth manager, a financial advisor.
yeah.
How would you go in to approach somebody? What would be your approach?
So for example, like, obviously doing what I do, it's a skill that a lot of people will need help. So I would go to speak to someone. Number one, I would offer them a financial review or support with their finances. Or if I see that, for example, like I might check their LinkedIn, I might see that they run a charity, or they have a certain cause that they work. So I might offer to give a talk for their charity. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Now we get to connect and so forth. And so again, it can be value exchange. If you haven't got that type of skill, for example, someone might approach me and say, "Oh, Ian, I'd love to work with you, or I need your help for some can't afford." your fees or whatever. But you might have time. I can't afford your fee, but what I can do, can offer X amount of time to help do some, I can take some phone calls for you, or I can come to you. I'm really good on social media. I can come to one of your events and film it for you. Now, I appreciate the support you're giving me. So we're working together and you're supporting me. Why would I want to help and support you? So sometimes it's value exchange. So again, but also if you just feel like I want someone to mentor me or support, reach out to them and just explain that, I've been watching you for a while. I really admire what you do. I admire your journey. I see myself being where you are. I just want some time with you, like to just either a coffee or a Zoom or whatever it be, just to understand the steps that you take. I just want to know your story better. Don't
Mm.
ask, I want you to mentor. That's, we're all busy. Like HMRC is chasing us all, So you have to. But if you can say to someone, "Look, I really admire you. I really admire what you're trying to do. I'd love to aspire to get to your level one day, and I really just want to learn from you. And I'd love to just listen to your story, just understand the steps that you took to get to where you are, and the challenges that you went through to see things I can do better to make sure I feel."
Yeah.
I'd love, and trust me, 90% of people will say, you know what, I'll give you an hour. Because they remember when they were in your position, they probably didn't have anyone to help them. So
Yeah.
they want to be the difference. And so it's just about your approach and how you do it. But if you can lead with value, if you can say, oh, I've read your book, you know what I mean? I get people, oh, I've read your book. I loved your book, and I've recommended it to my friends and so forth. I just love to ask you a question about, you said XYZ in chapter 5 about
Yeah.
XYZ. I'm gonna feel like, wow, you've taken the time to actually, spend your money, spend your time reading my book, and I want to give you that time. If you just come to me and say, "Oh, I've got a question on this," like, oh, speak to my people, book a meeting, and pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about your approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Um, and I think this aspect of networking, your network is so valuable, so key. I think a lot of people I find in business are too quick to make a sale.
Yeah,
Or sometimes your biggest investment is actually in the relationships that you meet along the way. Um, One of the things I'll ask you as well. So we're going to be talking about generational wealth, how to secure generational wealth. Although before we get to that, I want to speak to you about wealth managers and wealth
yeah,
management. And the reason I'm asking you this question, believe it or not, if I asked 10 people what is a wealth manager, I'll probably get 10 different answers. Right. So I want you to break down what is a wealth manager and how a wealth manager can help me, uh, finances or anything else like that.
you know what you said is so key. So they're, they're different. So sometimes they kind of blur the line. A typical wealth manager is someone who can actually manage your wealth in regards to the investments that you're in. They're managing it on a day-to-day basis. So they are doing the investments for you and have you given them authority to invest on your behalf. Okay. Now, some financial advisors call themselves, wealth managers and wealth management and so. But what they're talking about more is help manage it, but they don't actually invest it. They invest your money with other fund managers or other investment providers. So they're not doing it in-house. They do it externally. And so with a financial advisor is more about looking beyond just your money. Okay. So a wealth manager typically will only look at assets that you have. So that's why typically it's only people who have, 100K, 150K, 200K plus that be with a wealth manager because they're just looking at the amount of money that you've got. A financial advisor will look at your money, also will look at life insurance, will look at trust, will look at, will, we'll look at property. Look at other areas of your total rather than just a portion of your wealth. Okay, and so that's where financial advisors really help you plan. I always tell my clients, when you sit down with me, it's your first time sitting down with a financial advisor. I've sat down with thousands of clients. So when you sit down with me, you sit down with me with all the knowledge of all the clients that have gone before. So the struggles that you are having that you think is only you, I would have already done them with other clients that I've seen in my career. And so I'm going to tell you, it's not just for you to tell me the problems that you know about. I'm going to tell the problems you don't even know about yet, because I've
Yeah.
probably experienced them with clients that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And that's what financial advisor really adds value. It's not necessarily about picking funds or investing. It's really about the holistic building wealth. And again, like we said, they're getting onto that generational wealth.
Fantastic. I love that. And if I was going to go to wealth manager, right, but I was going to let me ask another question.
Yeah.
What does the next 5 years look like for you? So, for example, you've mentioned about yourself being a wealth manager. Um, Now, you've been a wealth manager. Um, what does that look like? Are you going to scale a team of wealth managers? Are you currently operating through a limited company or operating independently? So, and I know we have some organizations like St. James's.
Place, yeah.
What does the next 5 years look like for you? How do you plan on scaling your organization?
You know what? And again, it's different for different people. Like I said, I'm not just a financial advisor or wealth manager. I'm a businessman. And so for me, I'm part of Belvedere Wealth Management. So I'm a partner in that firm. That's an independent financial advice firm. So that's directly authorized by the FCA. So that's totally in, and that's going to continue to grow. But, I wouldn't say that's my main focus. I'd say probably the main focus now is my onestopsave.com, which is basically my comparison website. So on that site, you can compare car insurance, home insurance, travel insurance. You can compare credit cards or loans. From next month, you also be able to get deals, the latest deals that are out there. Got a whole section on side hustles and how to get you side hustles, and it's aimed at helping the working class everyday person make ways to make their money work. Because for me, what I realized was is that I'm limited to only be able to help people that are in the same space as me.
Yeah,
Right now, I'm here. If somebody has a question, they're gonna have to wait till I finish this.
yeah,
And if the questions are too much, I might never get to it. But one stop save, that it's a one stop place for all your financial needs, and it's something that's going to continue to grow and build, and really help people. Not only, our mantra is not just helping you save money, manage money, and make. We want to help you do all those things better. And so that's that's my real big 5 year plan, is to do that, and really big market share here in the UK, and take that further.
fantastic. And that's one stop save.
OneStopSave.com. That's
Fantastic. Um, you mentioned about a side hustle while you were speaking just now. What is your top three side hustles you recommend to somebody?
Oh Lord, I think I always tell people it all depends on your skills. I think there are some there are some easy side hustles, easy wins. Like if you've got a car, and you're not using it regularly, I think Churro is a great way for you to put your car on that platform and rent it out. Especially if it's a decent car, you can rent out, because people are not buying cars. People, especially in London, I'll just use a nice car when I need it. Do you know what I mean? And you can make money from it. That's really important. So I think that's a really nice, easy side hustle. We are in a social media generation. So if you have grown up on social media and you're really good at social media, think about social media management. There are loads of small businesses that are owned by people that maybe are, 45, 50 plus, and they might not be as comfortable on social media. So the things that you've learned naturally by being on social media yourself, you can now, after watching a few videos online and taking a couple of courses, you can now help businesses be better on social media, pay for it. I think
Absolutely.
I think again, if you're really good at writing, you could be a writer, so a copywriter. You can, be a ghostwriter. You can be a virtual PA. These are all things that are skills. You might be PA for work, and then you can own virtual PA business that you do outside of work. Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on what the skill is and what you have, but what it is about value. What's the thing that, like I always tell people, don't wake up thinking about how you can make money. Wake up thinking about who can you help.
Yeah,
It's a completely different mind shift. When you think about who can I help, who's someone I can add value to, and if you don't have value, then the person you need to add value to is yourself. But once you get that, then who can I help? I told people when I was young, we used to do car wash. From car wash, then I used to sell BC jeans. From selling jeans, we used to go to the shop for elderly people on our estate, and then they used to pay us. There are loads of different things we could do. Gardening, because we've got energy.
Yeah.
Also, like I've got a lot of young people right now where they're doing deal sourcing. They're into property. They've gone to the property events. They've got no money, but they've got time.
Yeah.
So now they understand. I know how to identify properties. They know how to speak to estate agents, and so they'll go and find properties because they've been to these events. They'll then speak to investors, and then they'll get a commission. And I know someone who's actually managed now to buy a house due to the commissions that he was making from deal
Wow.
sourcing. So, like, don't oh, I haven't got money. I can't get into property. There are loads of different ways that you can make money through property or through whatever you're passionate.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you brought a smile to my face when you said VC genes. Only those in the generation will understand.
Yeah, old.
Honestly. And so on that note of side hustles, somebody that's currently in a full-time job comes home, is exhausted, you've got a child or two to look after,
Hmm.
or they want to get out of this rat race. Uh, Need a side hustle, they need to make additional money. What is your advice to somebody from there?
I think type of person. I think what do you do? So, for example, I have a friend, really good at not I would say friend now, but was a client, but really good at makeup, really good at doing their makeup. I
Yeah.
said to them, have you thought about offering makeup for other people? So this is not something that a business that they ever thought about. It's just a skill that they're good at. And they were like, no. Then I said, oh, do you put some videos online and then just offer people that friends that do their makeup.
Yeah.
Do one, two friends, take more pictures. Before now they can leave their job. They're doing it full time. They're
Yeah.
making more money doing that than it was work, and it doesn't feel like work because they enjoy what
Cool.
they do. I had another client who has a really nice voice, and I said, "Have you ever thought about doing like voiceovers or doing like doing being a executive PA, and answering the phone calls, answering phones for important clients and so forth?" And they were like, "No, never thought about." They started doing voiceovers and getting paid for
Wow.
doing voiceovers. And remember, voiceovers is not just here in the UK. Depending on what your voice and the language that you speak, you can do voiceovers in more different countries.
Yeah.
Um, and this is just their voice. This is not any. They're not. This is not a new skill. This is just the voice God gave them.
That's good. Yeah.
They're not thinking about what are the things that people like about me that I can monetize. They are just thinking, I need to go and get a job. I need to work. And so it's about people to see what are the things what do people, if someone says, oh, you know what, you're really funny, or I really love talking to you. Have you thought about offering a counseling service, doing a counseling course outside of work on the weekends? You can help counsel people. People
Yeah.
pay you. People want to speak to people. People say you've got a warm spirit, you've got someone that I just like talking around, talking to people. That's a skill that you can monetize.
Yeah.
Your mindset is not thinking about how do I monetize it, because no one ever told you that ever skill you have can make you money. And so it's really important to know that.
Fantastic. And I think my quick question this week, I had a mobile phone once and I stopped using a mobile phone, but it was on a contract. The contract was like £6 a month. I just left it. And I saw my Expedian credit rating that my credit went down because I had missed payments on that phone. Right. I don't use the phone. I don't know where the SIM card is. I really don't
Yeah.
even. I think I don't know why I even bought the phone in the fourth, but it was just a SIM. It wasn't even a. How does somebody improve their credit rating?
It's important, number one, to get to see your credit rating. So you got to get online, you got to see your credit score, know what's in your name, and then take control of what's in your name. If you're not using it like that, stop it, cancel it, get rid of it.
And-
Make sure you know what's in your name and make sure you're happy with what's in your name. Also then make sure that you've got direct debits, pay everything on time because you don't want to have any missed payments. Make sure you've got your address is correct, and you're on the electoral roll, so that's really important, for your address. And then if you do have a credit card, make sure you use it and pay it off. And those things will typically be the main things to do to grow your.
Fantastic. And my last question as well, Emmanuel, generational wealth. We're
Yeah,
talking about wealth stored up for our children's children.
yeah.
I know you discussed it in a book that you recently wrote, and I want you to just shed some light on that as well. Actually, before you do so, you mentioned about value, and I think a lot of people keep saying value, 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 value. You gave an analogy about apples and trees. If you can just emphasize that about and using that analogy to communicate the real essence of value.
So what I was talking about is for a lot of us, we chase, which is money. You know, we just want the next one, and so we have to go to someone that has apple trees and we buy apples from. But actually, when you create value, you have your own tree. Now that takes time. It takes time to tree, so it takes time to master your craft, or master the thing that you're going to add value to. Over time, once that tree grows, now you can not only feed yourself, you can also supply apples to other people, and now all of a sudden that can bring you in an income. So that's the difference. For a lot of us, we're just chasing apples when really we should be planting apple seeds and growing apple trees.
I love that analogy. And my last question as well is generational wealth. I hand over to you.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Generational wealth on two accounts. Number one is assets. So we've got to make sure that we've got life insurance. We've got to make sure that we are protecting our assets. We've got to have a will. We need to think about other things that we should put in trust. So that's number one, to protect the money and the wealth that we build. But number two is an educational part. We need to educate our young people, our children, so that we're going to leave these assets to know how to use them, how they work, how to make sure that they continue to add to it, just coming to take from it. But their job is not just to take it; their job is to take it and multiply it to increase it. Because what tends to happen with generational wealth is that by the third generation, they're back to zero. So
Yeah,
and they have to build all over again. So it's really important that they understand how to build generational wealth.
fantastic, Emmanuel. Listen, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man and you've got a busy schedule. And so for the our viewers, for our community, where can people find you? And how can they reach out to you if they need? I want to well, we're gonna put the one stop save in the description, and
Yeah.
then what we'll also do is where can people find you if they need to reach out to you?
Yeah, so people can find me on the E-Man Effect UK on social media, and emmanuelasuquo.com is the website, and you can reach me through there.
Fantastic, excellent. Um, Lastly, what is the E-Man effect?
The E-Man Effect is when you go to the shop and you think, I'm not going to buy this, but what would Emmanuel say if I bought this? That's the E-Man Effect.
Fantastic. And with that, I want to say thank you so much, Emmanuel, for your time today. You have been an absolute blessing, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon at some point. Once again, guys, Emmanuel Asuquo, thank you very much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
I should have actually told you we're going to pause for a bit.
All right. I've got another meeting at 6, so I'm a bit late.